So let's get practical here. Most of our listeners, and we certainly, live in large communities. We live in, probably first world conditions. What do we do? What can we do to create community? What are the steps that we can make right now to make those changes?
The first thing coming into my mind is step out the door, knock on your neighbor's door, and see if they're okay. Because we all live in small communities, even in a big community. We all live in a street, right? Alec mentioned this cul-de-sac, right? We all live in a small community. We all have immediate family. We all have neighbors. So we all have an area of our town, our block. We all have a community hall and whatever there. So we actually do live in small communities within those big communities. So my question is, how involved are we? Are we just watching our telly, being at home, going like me, 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 me? I don't care about the next door neighbor. Or are we actually involved?
One of the things I like where I live at the moment is there's quite a few people that just go round the roads, go round the park, just pick up litter. No, they just do it, including myself. I say my little target is 5 a day. Just pick up 5 pieces of litter a day, not 10, not 0, not 100, but 5. If everyone does a quick 5, then the whole neighbourhood really does look quite nice. Thanks.
Brett.
Sitting here wondering how you decide what your strength is and what you bring to the community, and how when you have children, are they just stepping into the regular routine of things and diving in on the cooking and cleaning things up and helping the elders, and you know what I mean? If that's the community, that's great. Supporting the elders, and the kids are doing that, and then they step into the role of actually going and doing a job, whatever it is that they resonate with, and then they start taking in the steps of what it is to be created into that person, and then carrying that forth. It sounds great, right? And how is that to build it? I mean, you have where we all live now, and is it just knocking on a door? I mean, we could start there, but it's more like, what do you? I'd like to have a little tighter, area, closer. I'd like to be closer with you and be there when you need something. If you need something, reach out to me. Not looking for anything but to be there, and I would hope you would have the same for me, like two-way street kind of thing, and that conversation and seeing who's open to it. Some may not, and then others will very much so. I think being involved in that, and I don't know. I would love to think it could happen. I mean, for me, I would just love to have a big old piece of property and then just invite people in, right? Because then I at least have an area where I can bring somebody in, and I have the offering. And then naturally they're going to say, oh, well, how can I support this? And then that really starts that community, right? Because if you're taking care of the one big piece, then people will support that cause. Well, we need food, we need this, we need that. All right, you need a place to live. All right, who knows how to work with this? We got to get some lumber. We got to, all right, how to, and it just starts evolving and growing. I don't know. It's just what's going through my head. Like, how can that actually start really happening in today in the way things are?
I wonder if, like, WhatsApp groups aren't a little bit of an attempt at reclaiming community, because there's so much disconnection in the world. Like, Gaby mentioned, you sit in and you're just focused on your TV, and then you you get into a little WhatsApp group and there's conversation, there's laughter, there is a sense of community. Now, if you applied that to, like you're saying, isn't that how community fire stations and things evolved? We know that if somebody's house catches fire, we all need to help. Go on, Jonathan.
Yeah, a friend of mine, he started a repair cafe. And again, that really typifies it for me. Just a place opens at a certain time. Got something that's broken, just come along. We'll see if we can fix it. Can or can't. Doesn't hurt. Thanks.
I mean, we all belong, don't we? We belong to an online community, and what are we trying to achieve there? What is it that makes us a supportive community? A sustainable one? Anyone?
I mean, I'm going to go with right out of the gate, just caring about growing yourself and bringing others along the way as you learn about yourself and your growth, and you're sharing your growth and what you have learned with others like-minded that are looking to grow themselves. I would think that would be just the simplicity, the simple basics of it, right? Where we've put ourselves through what we're offering you. And that in itself is why I resonate with what you're saying, because I could see some of my own challenges within you. I'm not going to tell you all the answers, but I'll guide you because you have all the answers. And I can guide you because I've been there and I felt it. And you know what I mean? And I think that in itself is the beginning. Just just wanting to be a better person, right? And
So is this something to do with a shared of? Sorry, Brett, I didn't mean to talk over you.
No,
I'm just wondering whether this is to do with a shared vision. Is what are we wanting from our communities? So, like you said, Brett, it's here in ecology. We're looking for growth. We're looking to support each other. We know what our values are and what we're aiming for. Is this something to do with community as well? Because I mean, we're not in the same area at all, are we? We're from around the world.
Yeah, that sounds great. I agree with that 100%. Like-minded thinking is the beginning, the basis. How come everybody's silent? And now I'm talking. What happened here? Gary, it's me and you.
But there's another part of this whole ecology thing, which is we all talk about how important the community is to us and how it has impacted us and what we've got from it and what you particularly because we've all been around the community for a while, what we try and return to it. So we've got an idea of what it is because we've got this working thing from Bhutan and we know that we all buy into it and we want to see it spread. So I kind of want to come back to what you asked, Gary, which is what's the practicals? How do we make this a practical reality? We've talked in the past about having ecology centres in towns. Gaby's absolutely right. The first thing you do is go out your door and knock on a neighbour's. We saw that in COVID, not going and knocking on doors, but conversations over fences and things like that. So we know that there is desire for it and we know that it can work. How do we make it more worky? That's the question.
I think we have to believe that it doesn't have to be big. It doesn't need to be anything massive. First, small steps. And that can just connecting with your neighbor, just saying hello, just smiling. I mean, it's a joke here, isn't it? In England, is that how do you frighten somebody from London? A northerner comes and says hello, because they're not used to it, and it does feel that there is some truth there. Is that community in the north feels slightly different to what it does in the south because we talk to each other. And you're a southerner, Alec. You know this. I'm friendlier than you.
And
It's
yet,
actually true. And you know what? The thing is that it's uncommon these days. I mean, Erika, you beautiful said it earlier. If somebody would do that when Alec told the story, I would say, "Whoa, well, get out of my space," because it has become uncommon. Maybe because we're not used to it anymore. Because we're not used to it, it feels like, what does he want? I have to laugh because I just saw today a TikTok video of a young guy who said, "It's my first day in college. 0 people talk to me." And somebody pointed out that he's sitting on a train while doing a TikTok video, and they said, "Why don't you just talk to someone?" And he really sarcastically said, "Well, you just really want me to talk to someone here on the train?" And the rest in the comment went like, "Yeah." It didn't even occur to him because it's not common anymore that you
I,
just
I
say hi to somebody.
I welcome you to travel on the trams and buses in Sheffield, because you will either learn or tell your life story by the time you've finished your journey, which is one of the really amazing things up here.
Yeah. Same
And
in Ireland.
got
You,
to remember what Kane has said. In previous, I've talked about internet marketing and yada 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 and email shots, and Kane has reminded us to talk to one person.
yeah. I mean, Erika, you want to come to Ireland, you need to get over your over that, because Irish people feel by the time when you're in a bus stop, by the time you get on the bus, because they're always late, you will know the life story of the 70-year-old lady beside you, including all the names of her grandchildren. Because they just talk. And it's lovely. It creates a real feel of community.
and we have talked about this before. I'm going to tell this story again because it came up in the subject of misanthropy or misanthropy, or however you want to pronounce that. Brett, Gaby, they are people's people. They love to talk to people. They love to generate conversation. Eric and I less so, and Eric and I got on a train to London with Brett, and picnic type table of 4 seats, lady, and that's it. She's taken up 4 seats. No one is going to go and sit there because they're like Eric and I, like, oh no, she sat there. We're not. Brett, no, goes, sits himself down. How are you doing? And off he goes. Erika is like cringing into her coat, and she's like, he's always doing this. He always does this. He always does this. And yet, I'm going to ask you, Erika, you want community, as long as you don't have to talk to them.
So I'm wondering why I joined this recording today, because I feel like every time I unmute, I'm like, so I'm really paying a lot of attention to what's going on internally for me in this conversation, right? I'm struggling. I'm wrestling myself in what's true, what's really true for me, and what I think is supposed to be true for me. I don't know what has always been for me versus what I don't want to be for me anymore, maybe, right? So Gaby says, go knock on your neighbor's door, and I'm inside. Hell no, I am never doing that. Right? That's like, and Brett knows this. Like, he would be more inclined to walk out and just right up and say, hey, we're just out here doing an experiment. And I'd be at the edge of the driveway like, what's up? I'm not doing it. Like, it just doesn't feel natural to me. Having said that, I'm over here thinking, I show up in communities because being reliable is a huge thing for me, right? Like, coming from my own past and learning more about myself and how feeling invisible, feeling like nobody is there, feeling alone, maybe a lot of the times is not a fun place to be. I know it. I've walked it, and I will do whatever I can for people for them to not feel that, right? So I show up. I volunteer my time outside of even this platform. I volunteer at a local food pantry. Like I've always been a big volunteer type of person. I used to volunteer for literacy, teach people how to read, basically, because there's a huge give back to me for giving. I love giving gifts because of what Gaby said earlier. Like there's huge, I love it. I just love doing things for people without them even expecting it, just because, hey, I thought of you today, kind of thing. So there is that part of me that's true and solid, right? There's the part of, and I know it's directly connected to, it's a wiring. I could probably change it. I'm wondering how willing I am to change that. I still have work to do around that. That's what's coming up for me. It feels really scary. There's the trust thing there. I work really hard at cultivating the communities I'm a part of, and I don't just jump in head first all the time immediately. I vest. I discern. I do all of that's happening. So to knock on a neighbor's door willy-nilly feels really like, are you out of your bird? There's no way I'm doing that on a good day. However, I also know my mood and where I am socially, my social battery has a lot to do with all of this, because Brett and I could go out to a function and I might be like on a low social and I'm more quiet. And then there are times that I'm like shining like a fucking superstar, talking and doing and engaging and doing all of that. It's not something that I can consistently rely on though, because there's all this other stuff at play. So I'm really wrestling with this idea of making community. I feel like I'm more of the quiet builder of community. Like I just consistently show up and give you what you need. I'm not going to be Gaby and Brett. I'm just not, it's just not, I don't want to be, quite honestly. Like I'm not going to pretend that I want to be that way. I'm more of the quiet background kind of community builder. But I talk to Brett all the time about this. And, you know, when we think about possibly moving, retirement, you know, relocating, and all I say, I don't really know where that's going to be. I don't know what it is. We haven't found the place yet. I'm just looking for a small town vibe. That is what my soul is screaming for, because of what we're all talking about here. It feels safe. It feels loving. Like it feels nurturing. And yeah, I'm all about it. I'm just not as, hey, let's go knock on the door. No, I'll be in the car.
You're right, Erika. I mean, we don't have to be the same personalities, because we all have different strengths and different weaknesses, and that's okay. We don't have to try and build on our weakness. That's not the point. The point is what noticing what our strengths are. What can I give? Not what should I give? That's not about it, is it? It's about turning up how we can and would like to turn up in whatever community that is. I mean, the part of our manifesto in ecology is about taking the chance, stepping out of our comfort zones in order to achieve.
So I like that, Gary. There's the part of, sorry, Erika. There's the part that's what makes you feel good. That's what you're going to offer. Because when you feel good, you're going to do more of it. Right? So if you're not comfortable talking to that person or whatever it is, that's fine. But there may be a time when you are comfortable going over to that person and popping your head underneath and saying, hey, how's it going? Because there's just that moment. Something may shift for you, and that might be your time. And you don't know that until you're in it. And that's the part. It's the gut feeling. It's the like following our knowing that I feel like has been shut down in society today. Like there's a lot of that gut feeling that we don't follow. Well, I'll stay with me, that I don't follow, right? Because of different things learned, right? So it's like, hold on, let's not do that. Feel into this. And no, if that's what it feels like, then maybe it is. Let's give it a shot. And there's more of that experiment going on more lately than ever. And I'm enjoying that piece, playing with the experiment.
You know, I'm sitting here and, you know, Christmas comes, holidays come, whatever. We have like an open door policy here. So it's like, as much as I'm not knocking on my neighbor's door, because Brett went and knocked on the door, came back and found out that person's going to be alone, we have an open door. The door's open. Just come in. it's more of a, because Gary asked, what do you want to give to the community kind of thing. I'm honing in on what that actually is for me. And it's more about, like I said, being reliable for people to know that there will always be someone who's willing to listen and just support, like accompany on whatever it is that you need. But it also taps into nurturing. There's a definite piece of nurturing community that speaks to me, right? Whether that means, oh, you're hungry? Let me make you something to eat. Oh, you need a pair of socks? Let me go see what you need. Like, what do you need? Like, taking care and nurturing is definitely something that speaks to me as far as community building, right? Speaking to strengths, right? I'm not going to rewire your house. I'll refer you to Brett if that's what you need. But if you need someone to accompany you to a doctor's appointment, I'm happy to do that. If you need someone to, invite you into a meal because you're going to be alone, I'm all about it. I'm not knocking on your door though. You don't know how many times I say that. You can knock on my door and I probably won't answer. That's another truth. Let me just tell you that.
Yeah, you'll be behind your sofa. Like, if I stay down here, they won't see me. I don't know if we got further along the path of how we create Bhutans in our own homes and towns. But I love the idea that we tried, and that these are conversations that we could go and have with other people. So for the benefit of the eardrums of our now one, but were two viewers, which just goes to show we've had 100% increase by using YouTube, because we've only ever had one viewer before. Some closing thoughts. Gaby, I'll come to you first.
I think for me, it just comes down to one thing. For me personally, I need to get out of my own head, out of my own wants and needs, and be more how do you say it? Vigilant about the people around me. It's not about me. Living is not about me. And I think it's showing that as more individualistic we got as a society, as more we shut ourselves away from community behind closed doors, as more unhappy people are, and as more mental health services they need, and as more antidepressants they take, right? So I think community and caring about other people is maybe the real antidepressant we actually need to look for rather than a tablet. So for community, for me, is really, really important. And we're talking in the personal growth industry a lot about, building resilience and building grit. Well, you don't need all that much of it if you have a supportive community behind you who can help you through adversity. That's another one. So I think for me, community is the answer to a lot. And yeah, and that's all what I'm about. I would love a Bhutan everywhere.
Thank you. Jonathan.
So we asked what we're actually going to do. Gary keeps on asking what we're going to actually do. We've got the Bhutan list there. Those are the guiding principles. Everybody really appreciates a role model. So the first thing we can do is just be visible, doing the right thing, whatever it is. So I think we're on the right track. So thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Jonathan. Brett.
I think I'd like to visit a community that's already kind of going on, just because I love doing that when I go on vacations, just dropping myself into the way they live and experiencing their culture, and just exploring a whole new way. So then when I come home, I can let go of certain things, right? Being like, wow, yeah, it is better. Simplicity is better, and you see there's more happiness in it. There's more. So just submersing myself into a community would probably give me more answers, and another way of seeing it and catching key points that then I can bring back to start, right? That might actually ignite that part within me in believing that that piece is true. Like, yes, do that. Don't, no, that's nothing to walk away from. Do that piece, right? Those thoughts or whatever that rip through your head so quick and then it's gone. Like, it might slow that down for it to come through and we actually act on it. So there's something in there, yeah. But I love a community like that, no doubt.
Awesome, thank you. Erika. Let's all do it with a...
So this is becoming just a real, I'm really just paying attention to myself in this conversation. And I think what's standing out for me is a constant exchange with myself of, but why? But why are you needing or wanting to do this in a community? Like, I want to be very mindful that I'm not off doing these kind of things to sort of fill a void in myself or make myself feel better about something. I don't want anything attached to the reasons why I'm showing up the way that I'm choosing to show up. But this has been a common theme for me in all of our recordings that we've done today, that there's a trust factor that goes on here for me personally, because there's nothing better than the feel of a small community. I mean, I enjoy it with all of you on the platform, and I know my soul longs for it in person, but there's also trust. And I know I don't want to just be open to just everybody. Like, that feels real scary for me personally, because not everybody's out for that kind of, people want what they want. And I want to be mindful of that. Not stopping anything that I'm doing, but maybe there's a slight challenge in there for myself to say hi to a random stranger once in a while. I do try sometimes. So maybe I will try to be more mindful of that. Maybe. I said maybe. So nobody come at me with that. So
But like we said in a conversation recently, trust is only rewarded by the giving. And Gaby set us off on that earlier, didn't she, about, giving is sometimes the greatest reward. So within the realms of what feels safe and comfortable for you and your nervous system, there's probably levels of saying hi to a stranger. You're not suddenly going to go into Manhattan and talk to strangers on the tube or whatever you call it there, because it's likely that your trust will not be repaid and you'll just get a negative kind of anchor for, I'm not doing that trust crap again. But small incremental steps that help us build to a better whole. Gary, did we get anywhere near your question from earlier about sustainable, just societies?
Oh, I think we scratched the surface. I think there's lots of different ways that we can build community. As we were talking, I was just reminded of a British Prime Minister from the 1980s, whose name I don't really want to speak out loud because it's like saying Lord Voldemort, who said there is no such thing as society, and then went about to make sure that it was destroyed where it existed. And so, there are groups like trade unions, which have community. They have a particular base in order to support people through difficult times. There are groups like, even in the small mining towns, they were real communities where they lived hard lives and they supported one another, and that's what was important. But now in the midst of our capitalist society, we have groups like cooperatives, where there isn't an immediate hierarchy, where everybody has an equal say, where the shares where whatever is made is shared out, whatever is created by the whole. It needn't be what we have been told from the top that society has to be. And so there's different ways of creating community. And what we need is imagination. We have to allow our imaginations to be bigger than what we see in front of us right now. And then we can work to that. Some people call it a vision. And our vision has to be greater than what we have right now. And then we take the small steps to move towards it.
Beautiful. What an ending. Thank you to Jonathan and Gary for joining us. We will have more guests in upcoming ones, TBC, and I think we might just do some more of this live malarkey. We got 3 whole viewers, and I, for one, am grateful for that. So contact details in the comments below. As always, we will see you on another one much like this in the not too distant future. Thanks, everyone.
We had